Hi guys, and welcome back. My name is Sarah for those of you that haven't practiced with me to date, and I will be guiding you for your practice here. So today's class is our final class of 10 mini flows for 10 days. Today's class is all about the legs. We will be moving throughout the body in other ways of course, but it is mainly focused on the legs. Have some props if you like to practice with props, and yeah, let's begin. Just start by saying as well, everything's always optional, so always feel free to modify things and yeah, take things at your own pace. If you want to slow the practice down, slow it down, and vice versa if you want to speed it up. So come to find yourself onto your back and bringing your knees so that they're bent and the feet are planted on the mat and they're about hip width apart. And just coming to tune into the breath. Maybe taking a couple of rounds of breath here. Just coming to settle in onto your mat. And then on your next breath, bring the knees in towards the chest, maintaining the back so it's flat down towards the mat. Maybe the hands are in front of the shins as they squeeze the thighs towards the chest, or maybe you're taking the forearms outside and wrapping them around the front of the shins, taking hold of opposite elbows. And just remaining here for a few rounds of breath, and knees to chest. If that's not comfortable, you can always extend the legs, taking the hands on towards the knees or the shins so that the legs are away from you, and just draw them in and out, taking some motions. And then on your next breath, coming to bring the knees so that they are hovering above the hips or thereabouts. The legs are bent so that they're parallel towards the mat, about 90 degrees or thereabouts once again. So we're thinking about drawing our lower back down towards the mat here. If it's not quite down towards the mat, you can always elevate the hips up a bit and prop a blanket underneath. And then bring the hands up towards the sky. So the arms are now extended, facing up towards the ceiling. And then on your next breath, we're going to extend the left leg long and the right arm's going to come above the head, stretching towards the back of the room. Then drawing that knee back in, hand back in, extending the right leg long, sending the left arm back behind us. So we're alternating arms and legs here. And just going with your motion. Maybe we're bringing the leg all the way down towards the mat, or maybe it's just coming to slightly move away from the other knee. The movements don't have to be massive. They can be micro movements if you want them to be. It's just moving here. We're just coming to focus on feeling some sensation within the lower abdominals, the middle abdominals. So this is where we're looking to create some sensation here. And we're going to take 2 more rounds on each side, moving with your breath, allowing the breath to guide you. And then coming back through center, coming to bring the hands beside the body, bringing the feet down towards the mat. And then scooping your butt just a little bit down towards the heels. Maybe the backs of the fingertips come to graze, maybe they don't. But we're taking the feet once again so they're about hip width apart. And we're going to come to find bridge pose here. So there's a couple of options. You can always bring a block in or a prop in and bring it in between the thighs. It helps to create some nice feedback. But bringing the hands beside the body, come to think about allowing the back to be flat towards the mat. And then come to firm in towards the big toe, the little toe, the heel. Start to create some traction into the feet, pushing them down so that you might even lift the tailbone ever so slightly off the mat. As that comes to do so, then lift the lower back, coming to send the hips up towards the sky for bridge pose. Then coming to lower the hips back down. We're coming back through that. You might like to stay here, or you can come to add on. So as we come to lift the hips up, so think about pushing into the feet before you do so. Come to bring the chin in towards the chest. Maybe you're slightly shuffling the shoulders underneath back Maybe you bring the hands with you and interlacing the hands, coming to find a bound bridge pose. Coming to release that grip if you've taken that option, and then lowering the hips back down towards the mat. And then on your next breath, coming to lift the hips back up, finding that bridge pose one more time. Now you can either stay here or you can add on. So we're coming to think about getting heavy into your left foot, so putting all of your weight into your left leg, still keeping those hips elevated nice and high. Going to draw the right knee in towards the chest. It can either stay here or you can extend that right leg up towards the sky, pointing or flexing the toes to help finding that engagement. Coming to then gently place that left foot back down towards the mat, that right foot, sorry, still keeping the hips elevated here. Then firming down into that right foot, really feeling that weight start to get light into the left foot as you draw the left knee in towards the chest, still keeping the hips elevated. And then maybe you stay there, or maybe you send the leg up towards the sky, either pointing or flexing the toes to find that engagement. And then bending that knee, bringing the left foot back down to meet the right, and then drawing the hips back down towards the earth. Taking a moment here to maybe take the feet out nice and wide, allowing the knees to knock into one another here. And coming to tune into the breath. And then coming to walk the feet back in towards the center, either rolling off to one side, coming up to find tabletop, or you might like to bring the hands behind the back of the legs, sending the feet up towards the sky as you lift the hips, creating some momentum, rocking and rolling up the length of the spine of the mat. Maybe you come up on to sit on the sit bones, or maybe you cross the legs and you come all the way over the top, finding yourself in tabletop. Taking any variation that you feel feels good for you to come to find your tabletop. And taking the hands, handprint ahead the shoulders, coming to tuck the toes under and lift your hips up and back for down dog. Coming to pedal out the legs here, bending one knee, straightening the other leg, just taking your dog for a little walk. And then firming down into both hands, still keeping a nice little generous bend in the legs here, coming to extend that right leg back behind you for three-legged dog. Maintaining it about hip height here, then come to bend the knee and open the hip up towards the right side. So we're coming to find scorpion, so thinking about sending that right heel towards the left glute. And then maybe you're taking some little circles out here through the hip. If you're going one way, remember to go the other way. And inviting some buoyancy into the elbows here as well, if that feels good for you. And then coming back, coming to re-extend that leg, coming back through center, turning the hips to face the mat as we bring the right foot down to meet the left. Coming over towards the left side this time, so firming down into the right foot. Coming to hover the left leg for three-legged dog. Coming to bend the knee and open up the hip towards the left side, sending the left heel towards the right glute, the right buttocks. And then either coming to circle out through the hip here. And if you're going one way, once again, remembering to go the other way. And then coming to extend that leg one more time for three-legged dog, turning the body to face the front of the mat as we then come to place the left foot down to meet the right. From your downward dog, come to tiptoe your way towards the top of the mat. Finding an even distribution of weight through the feet in your forward fold. Maybe that's elbows to thighs, maybe hands to props or to the ground. Allow the head and neck to hang heavy here. Really firming down into the feet, coming up to rise. Allowing the hands to hang heavy as you come up, rolling the body all the way up. The hands sweep out beside you, palms come up towards the sky. They might meet as they draw down through heart center. Bringing the hands beside the body for a moment into Tadasana. And then while you're here in your Tadasana, coming to bring the weight in towards the toes. So come to bend the knees a little bit first. So bend through the knees. Imagine you're about to sit into the chair, but you're not dipping all the way into that chair. So you're bending through the knees slightly, and then start to think about coming into the toes so that the heels lift off of the floor. Maybe it's just a centimetre, or maybe even half a centimetre, or maybe it's an inch. And then place them back down, come to straighten the legs. I'm going to do that one more time. Come to bend the knees, and then come in towards the toes. So we're placing our weight in towards the front of the feet, lifting the heels. And then come to place the heels back down, straighten through the legs, bring the hands up towards the sky as the palms might meet. I'm going to draw them down through heart center, fold over the tops of the thighs. Bringing the hands to the shins, halfway lift, straightening the legs, gazes down towards the mat. Come to frame the feet, step the right foot back and then the left foot. Coming to lower the knees down towards the mat, untucking the toes, and gently lowering yourself all the way down. Coming to find the forehead and chest towards the mat, hands are beside the body, elbows are energetically drawn in towards the rib cage. Come to firm down through the tops of the feet. As you come to lift the head, lift the chest for baby cobra. Gaze can remain down. And then coming back down. Coming to push into the tops of the hands, into the tops of the palms. And coming to find tabletop. Coming to tuck the toes and then lift the hips up and back for down dog. Taking a round of breath here. And then you might like to shorten your stance ever so slightly here for this next part on down dog. So maybe you walk your hands or your feet a bit closer towards one another and inviting a generous bend in the knees. Start to bring the weight in towards your left hand as you start to get light in towards the right fingertips. And then we're going to drag the right fingertips over towards the left leg. That might be the left ankle, the left calf, or maybe the left thigh, as we come to find a down dog twist. Maybe the gaze is towards the mat or to the side of the room or under the left armpit. And then coming back through center, bringing that right hand back down towards the mat. Starting to bring the weight in towards the right hand this time. Start to get light into the left fingertips as you then drag the left hand over towards the right leg, placing it wherever feels accessible for you to be able to twist ever so slightly over towards the right side. Maybe the gaze is to the side or under the right armpit. Letting go of that grip, coming to bring the left hand back down towards the mat for down dog. Coming to gently tiptoe your way towards the top of the mat, finding yourself in forward fold. And then coming to firm down in towards the feet. Start to really bend through the knees so that there is an imaginary chair underneath your butt, and think about connecting your chest towards the thighs. Sending the hands back behind you as they then sweep forward and we come up to rise to find chair pose. And maybe you come up a little bit higher, or maybe you sink a bit lower. The hands can be above the head, they can be out ahead, or they can be at heart center, or even onto the hips. Just think about kind of rocking the weight into the heels a little bit more, as if like we are finding that imaginary chair. And then finding some stillness here. Coming to tune inwards into the body. Asking the body for some patience maybe here in this slightly asking a lot posture. And then bring the hands out ahead of you, coming up to rise, straighten the legs. As the hands come above the head, their palms might meet, draw them down through heart center. And we're going to take that one more time, guys. So coming to bend the knees, send the hands back behind you, and then sweep them out ahead of you, coming to find your variation of chair pose. Go into a depth that feels that is good for you, that is manageable, that you can breathe in. Then on your next breath, bringing the hands to heart center. Think about putting all of your weight into your left foot, your left leg. Start to get light into the tippy toes of the right foot, lifting the right heel. We're going to step the foot back behind us, and then we're stepping it back to the front. Taking it back one more time, stepping it back to the front. Helps a little bit if you lean the torso forward ever so slightly over the top of the thigh, and then stepping it back forward.
Bringing that right heel back down, coming up to rise, finding a moment in a standing finding a moment maybe in Tadasana. Just coming to notice what there is to notice in that left leg as opposed to the right leg, that we haven't done those leg step backs as of yet. On your next breath, coming to sweep the hands back behind you, bend the knees, bring the hands out in front or maybe to heart center for chair pose. Finding your depth here. And then start to think about bringing all the weight into that right foot, that right leg, switching on that right glute. And then start to lift, start to peel the left foot to the left heel off the mat, coming onto the tippy toes, getting really light, maybe leaning the torso forward ever so slightly as we send that leg back behind us. Doesn't have to be a big step. Bring it forward, step it back. Bring it forward, and then step it back. And once you bring it back in again, come to place the heel back down, come up to standing. Bring the hands beside the body for Tadasana if they're not already. Just come to tune into the breath here. Find your rhythm. And then on your next breath, coming to bring the hands either towards the hips or maybe up towards the sky. Come to start to, once again, become very heavy into the left foot. So we're distributing our weight into that left leg. Start to hover the right foot off of the mat. Come to bring the knee up ever so slightly as we bend through that left leg and we send that right leg back behind us, finding crescent lunge. Embracing any wobbles that might come along the way. I thought I was going to go then, guys. Oh, so finding your crescent lunge. And then coming to straighten through that left leg. As you do so, come to bring the torso over the front of the leg, send the hands back behind you for a version of arrowhead. And we're going to flow here. So coming back into your crescent lunge. And then coming to straighten the legs, send the hands back behind you. And take that 2 more times. Beautiful. Finding yourself in your crescent lunge, start to bring some awareness into this back leg, this back foot, as we come to spiral the toes so that they turn to face the long edge of the mat and that back heel comes down, finding warrior 2. Then when you're in your warrior 2, come to straighten through this left leg. We're going to turn the left toes to face the long edge of the mat also. So once you've found yourself, the toes facing the long edge of the mat, we're going to heel toe them back in towards one another so that the feet are next to each other. Then come to turn the toes out, then turn the heels out, and then come to turn the toes out one more time. And bring the hands up towards the sky. As the palms draw down, we're going to bend the knees, and we're bringing the knees in line with the hips, with the glutes. And we're thinking about sending the knees to the back of the room. So you'll start to feel this turn on the glutes, the legs. It will feel heat. And then coming back up to stand, straightening the legs. So we're going to take that 2 more times. Coming to lower the tailbone down towards the mat, bringing the hips in line with the knees, sorry. Coming back up, straightening through the legs. And then taking that 1 more time, coming to lower down, really sending those knees energetically to the back of the room, really squeezing it in through those glutes. And then coming back up to rise. And then coming to turn the body all the way to the top of the mat again. So you're in this crescent lunge, the toes are facing the front of the mat, the body's facing the front of the mat. Come to find that crescent lunge. Then bring the hands towards the hip. Come to straighten through that front leg, maybe a little micro bend in the knee. That heel at the back is still hovering. And then come to lean ever so slightly over the top of that leg, bringing the body so it's almost parallel over the top of that left thigh. Variation of pyramid. If you're looking for something a bit deeper, you can bring the hands maybe to some props, or maybe you bring both hands outside of the left foot. Coming to find halfway lift, or maybe you're folding completely over the top of that thigh. And then coming to bend through that leg, bend through that left knee, come to plant the hands, come to frame that foot, as we then sweep it back behind us, finding ourselves in plank pose. Come to bend the knees, lower them towards the mat, untuck the toes. And come to draw the hips back for a moment in child's pose. Tuning into the breath. Coming up to rights, finding yourself in tabletop, coming to tuck the toes and then lift the hips up and back for down dog. On your next breath, coming to send that left leg back behind you for three-legged dog, bend in the knee. As we bring the knee towards the chest, we're going to angle that left knee so that it's coming to gently place behind the back of the left wrist, Coming to still keep those right toes tucked as we walk them all the way back till they can't no more, and we untuck the toes, gently place the right knee towards the mat. So we're coming to find pigeon pose here. If the hip's hanging in the air like mine is, maybe pop a little prop under there, give it a little bit of support. If you like it hanging in the air, feel free to keep it there. Just exploring what feels good for you here. And there's a couple of options here. You can either stay with the hands down on towards the mat, or maybe onto a prop if you want something that's a little bit more propped up. If you're looking for something a little bit more active, maybe you're bringing the hands back behind you and allowing them to energetically reach towards the back of the room for a more active version of pigeon. Maybe you're also coming up, squeezing the thighs in towards one another, coming to find a little bit more of engagement in the inner legs. Just taking any variation that feels good for you. And then on your next breath, coming to place the palms back down if they're not already, come to tuck the back toes, lift the back knee. And we're going to come back out of this the same way we come in. If that feels good for you, of course, if it doesn't, then come out of it a different way. So we're coming to lift the knee, bringing it towards the chest, and then coming to shoot it back behind us with three-legged dog. And bringing that left foot back down to meet the right foot for downward facing dog. And coming to find some breath here, taking a few rounds, maybe pedaling out the feet. On your next breath, coming to send that right leg back behind you for three-legged dog. Come to bend the knee, bring the knee towards the chest as you come forward for a variation of plank, and come to step that right foot forward. Maybe use your hand to give it a helping hand, and start to think about finding some sense of even distribution of weight between the right and the left foot before coming up to rise for crescent lunge. Coming to find a round of breath here. Maybe exploring taking a wider crescent lunge, more narrow one, or a shorter stance, just to help to find that stability in your posture here. And then on your next breath, come to straighten through that right leg, offering a micro bend as the arms come back behind us, bringing the torso over the top of that leg. Bending through that front knee, sending the hands back up towards the sky. Just moving between these two motions in your own breath. Taking one more round. Bringing the hands back up towards the sky, start to bring some awareness to this back foot, this back leg, as we then come to turn, spiral that back heel down, turn the toes to face the long edge of the mat, coming to find warrior two. So this front knee is still bent, arms are coming out towards shoulder height. And then come to straighten through that front leg, come to turn the front toes to face the long edge of the mat. We're going to heel toe the feet all the way back in towards the center as they come to meet. Once they come together, we're going to turn the toes out, and we're going to turn the heels out, and then turn the toes out one more time. So on your next breath, bring the hands up towards the sky as the palms may meet. They're going to draw down through heart center. We're going to bend through the knees, come to bring the hips that are roughly in line with the heels again. Maybe bringing the butt just a little bit down below the knees this time. Energetically sending the knees to the back of the room. Coming back up, bringing the hands above the head. Palms might meet, drawing them back down. Bringing the butt a little bit lower than the knees this time. Still creating that activity, that buoyancy, sending the knees to the back of the room. Firming down through the feet, coming back up. One more round, guys. Coming to tune into the breath. And then coming back up to rise. Coming to turn the body so that we're facing the front of the mat, finding that crescent lunge stance again. And then coming to bring the hands, coming to straighten through that front leg to begin with. Either bringing the hands towards the hips, or maybe they're out ahead of you, still above the head. As we come slightly forward, bringing the torso so that we are halfway lift over the front right leg. That back heel is still hovering. There might be a little micro bend in that right knee. Maybe the hands come down towards the mat or towards props. Once again, maybe you're staying in that halfway lift or finding yourself forward folding. Or maybe you're moving between both motions. And then come into frame that right foot, bend through the right knee, come to step the right foot back to meet the left. Come to lower the knees down towards the mat, bring the hips back towards the heels, send the hands back behind you for a round of breath in Balasana. Coming back up to rise, bringing the hands in front of you for tabletop, tucking the toes, lifting the hips up and back for down dog. And coming to extend the right leg back behind you through a three-legged dog. Bend the knee, then bring the knee towards the chest before coming to step it through. We're going to turn the right knee towards the right wrist as we gently place it down behind it. Walk the back toes all the way back till you can't no more, and then gently place the knee down, untuck the toes. Either finding this side supported once again with a prop in pigeon pose. Maybe you're making some adjustments here, wiggling that foot away from the groin, or maybe it's coming closer towards the groin. Just creating any space that feels good for you. Once again, you can really work with props here to help find some more space within certain poses that aren't always comfortable for every anatomy. Pigeon is a pose that asks a lot of us. So it's okay to invite in props to assist. There's nothing wrong with using props. Once again, you can go for that active range if it's calling to you. Coming to hover the hands, maybe sending them back behind you, allowing the chest to shine forward. Just take in any variation that's calling to you. And then on your next breath, coming to roll off to the right hip, and then coming to send both legs out in front of you. Maybe giving them a little shimmy and a shake before coming to bend the knees, put the feet, planting the feet on towards the mat, and then coming to lay back down towards the mat. Bringing the hands beside the body, and then coming to firm down into the feet one more time. So firming down into the big toe, the little toe, and the heel of the... We're just going to take some bridge marches here. They don't have to be big. They can be little micro heel hovers. So you can come to hover the left foot for a moment, and then place the heel back down, and then hover the left foot, and then place the heel back down. If you're looking for more, you can bring the knee towards the chest, towards the face, and we're just working with these bridge marches here. Just trying to maintain a stable pelvis as we're doing so that we're not rocking side to side. If that's too much for you, maybe you come to lower the back down towards the mat. You practice the bridge marches with the back on the mat, just walking the knee in towards the body. And just taking 2 more rounds wherever you are before coming to lower the hips back down towards the mat. And when you're ready, when you're all finished, coming to bring the knees in towards the chest, giving the legs a little squeeze, the thighs a squeeze towards the body. And come to find happy baby. If you know where you're going, feel free to go there straight away. Or if you want to follow the instructions, we're coming to bend the knees. So we're taking them out towards the side of the body. The feet are planting, as if you imagine you was planting the feet on towards the ceiling. We're drawing the toes towards the face. And this might be where you want to stay. We're still keeping the lower back down towards the mat, the upper back, the whole entire back onto the mat. Maybe you bring the hands back on the back of the thighs and allow them to draw in towards the body more. Maybe they're on the calves, or maybe you're taking hold of the outer edges of the feet, helping to draw the knees down towards the earth beside the rib cage. And coming to either find some stillness or maybe taking some rocks side to side. And coming to release the grip if you've taken that option. And come to bring the feet back down towards the mat, take the feet towards the long edges and allow the knees just to knock into one another. And finding a few rounds of breath here. And when you feel ready, there's no rush, you can either end your practice where you are or coming to roll over to one side, coming up to find a seat. And that's the end of our practice, the end of our 10 mini flows for 10 days. Thank you ever so much for joining me. It's been an absolute pleasure guiding you. If you have any questions, any comments about today's practice, please feel free to put them down below in the box or send us an email or something on Instagram. Yeah, and I really hope you enjoyed the 10 mini flows. And until next time, guys, take care. Bye.